right, good day, team. Welcome back to another episode of
John's Place.
I'm John.
I'm Josh. John's friend.
Are you right there?
Yeah, just had a fucking stroke.
Oh,
Can never get anything right, eh?
oh well. All right.
Never mind.
So, doing another episode here of John's Place, which Josh has named. And last week we ended on a little bit of a high note, and we had to actually finish it off because
Cliffhanger.
that's a better word. Cliffhanger. So, just for a little bit of context, we're keeping these episodes to 45 minutes. So we've set a timer. Once the 45 minutes goes off, we stop talking.
That's it. Doesn't matter what we're talking about.
Otherwise, this would just go on forever.
Yeah.
Because we love a yarn. So last time we actually finished on death sports, and when in society does it become okay to start killing as a sport?
Like, because you were talking to me off camera about gladiators and stuff like that, and like what we've been sort of exposed to as far as death sports go in popular culture. First off, I don't think that Gladiator is an accurate representation of what
The movie Gladiator.
The movie Gladiator with Russell Crowe.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it was fantastic,
Yeah.
I don't think it's probably an accurate representation of what actually happened.
And look, we don't have any witnesses, no eyewitnesses. No one was there.
Nope.
That is still alive today.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
Definitely not.
No. There's paintings. There's plenty of paintings.
Yeah, and there'd probably be a historian that could accurately paint the appropriate picture or tell the story for us and, enlighten us in that way. But I'm just not sure that hasn't been entirely dramatized
for Hollywood's sake.
For Hollywood's sake.
Are you saying that Hollywood over dramatizes things?
Yeah. It might happen. Like a lot of people may have died doing it. And there are probably even countries today that these things happen, like, underground boxing matches where people die, But it's like, what we're asking is, when do we cross the line from? Because I watch
because currently, it's not allowed. You're not allowed to. Definitely not.
Definitely not allowed to kill someone.
For sport. Or at all.
At all. No, which is good, I think.
Definitely.
But, you were asking me, do you watch UFC? And the answer is no, I do not. And I have nothing against the fact that, it's a sport a lot of people love.
But currently, UFC is fair. You would say that, where there's rules.
Yep.
And
two people going into the fight knowing what they're getting into. Yep. They've prepared for it.
As best they can,
Yep. And there's a referee that's like, okay, that's it.
Yeah.
Don't choke him till the point where...
Yeah, they're like, that's the end. You win.
Yep.
But then at what point do they go like, he has to be dead to win? Because I think we reference a lot movies.
Yep. What's the first one that comes to your head?
Oh, I can't remember the name, but it's like, it's got Arnold Schwarzenegger and it's some sort of... It's Running Man. It's the Running Man. It's called Running Man.
Is it?
Yeah. And
isn't that the one about the guy who's really good at counting cards at the casino?
No, that's Rain Man.
Pretty close.
Imagine if they combined and became one movie, and Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sean Penn and Arnold Schwarzenegger are running for their lives, and if they don't if they don't win blackjack, they're killed. That's a movie I want to see.
You could tell Tegan that's one of her scripts.
That could be
ideas.
Yep. My wife, she has very interesting movie ideas. She often gets me to write them down. It often happens when she's on the tools, if you will, driving the car, and she just is inspired. I do not drive the car very much
but they're all horror movies, and I'm like, I fucking hate horror movies.
But that would be a horror movie.
It would be.
Yeah.
Come on, we got to get down to here, Sean. That's perfect.
What are you saying? I depict one very well?
Yeah.
Wow.
That crippled me.
Yes, it did.
Yeah, man.
We really get off topic pretty easily, don't we?
Like I said to you, I'm pretty sure that I'm like ADD or ADHD undiagnosed. Because I'm just like down that rabbit hole. This one. And then 45 minutes goes past and we're still talking about where the line in the sand is in terms of combat sports going to death sports.
And interestingly enough, I think that combat sports to become eventual death sports in a lot of these movies, it's always money and gambling. And we spoke about that last time, gambling, and how we don't like gambling and we think it's really bad. And that would eventually lead to the next thing, right?
There's people gamble on,
and it's never enough.
Today.
But then it becomes like not enough. That's the way the movies depict it.
Okay, what about the UFC?
Yeah, you can bet on that. Yeah.
Is like, the exposure to violence. Like personally, it makes me feel sick. After you've seen one of the fights and like a guy's thrown an elbow, the other guy's copped it, and his eyes just completely swollen. Or like there was someone copped a flying knee. I saw, and his like face was caved in, and I'm like, fucking hell, man! Like, where are we drawing the line? And it's like, go for it. You can fight whoever you want to fight.
Have you seen Dana White's new thing, which is the slapping? And the whole thing is that it's like me versus you slapping each other, but it's a free shot. I have to hold a towel behind my back, so my hand's there, and you just get to slap me as hard as you can. And it's like best of 3.
What is this?
It's Dana White's new slapping thing, and it's like slap championships. And they are saying that it is one of the worst things ever because it is causing brain injuries.
Of course it is, man.
So they have a table in between, and then they have like people behind them to catch them, and then it's just like you just literally square off, unopposed, slap as hard as you can.
Mate, that is one of the dumbest fucking things I've ever heard in my
life.
Well,
it exists. It exists.
Like, that is how you know this whole world is a simulation. And the person that was controlling it, they started out with good intentions, like, on this save, I'm going to do, everybody's going to have a fucking rosy old time. And then they're just bored now.
And they just dialed that right
all
up.
the cheats. And they're just like, fuck this. I'm going to go do something else.
Well, I guess this is
and we're just left here, like, it's still running, but all of this shit is happening. Like, what the fuck is that, John? Like, honestly, who could honestly think that is a fucking good idea?
Well, Dana White.
Well, fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Fuck him, man. Like,
and like, you don't even win that much. Like, you have like, it's like,
But they don't even win that much in the UFC.
Exactly.
They don't even win that much money, man.
Yeah.
Like, what did Conor McGregor win? That's why he went and fought Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah.
Because he knew he was going to get $60 million.
Didn't he do the WWE as well?
Probably.
Yeah, and they get more, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's why, what's her name?
And that's real.
Ronda Rousey. She does that as well. They are getting more money than...
And it's a legitimate sport. The WWE.
Yeah. It is.
Imagine if they turned that into a death sport.
Fuck. Now, that's why I used to play it. Yeah.
Big show.
Yeah. Macho Man Randy Savage with a fucking chair. Boom! Papa Shango, born in the Bermuda Triangle.
I'm pretty sure.
Putting a fucking curse on you.
Was he born in the...
That's what it said on the profile when you selected him in the Sega... Harry and I used to play that multiplayer Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Fuck, it was good, man. Papa Shango. And he used to curse people.
Damn.
And I was like, that's not fair. He's not even using his hands. He's got an unfair advantage. Why wouldn't you just do that from the start if you were Papa Shango? You haven't even made the ring. It's like, he's fucking dead.
Yeah.
Like, I've crippled him.
Yeah.
Don't even have to get in there.
Yeah.
That's a true psychopath. Someone that knows they've already got it won, but they'll do it anyway.
Well, if he's born in the Bermuda Triangle, I don't think he's all there. I know we shouldn't pigeonhole people like that. It could be seen as problematic, but I think it's true. Yeah. Case in point, him.
Man, I was obsessed with the Bermuda Triangle when I was a kid. Obsessed with it.
Yeah.
Because I'd been on the ride at SeaWorld.
There was a ride at SeaWorld?
Yeah, fucking oath. I'm not sure if it's still there.
Man, I didn't grow up here.
You never been to SeaWorld?
Yeah, but there ain't no Bermuda Triangle.
There was a ride called the Bermuda Triangle.
Well, not when I went.
Lots of people could attest to that.
I'm sure they could,
There-
but I'm
I'm-
saying
I'm sure-
I've never been on it.
I'll see if I can find you the YouTube clip and you can like put it in here. But like someone does like a ride through, and I was like, "Fucking wow, that's crazy!" And then I started reading stories about like, I think it was called Flight 19 that just mysteriously disappeared, and they've never found the. It's a fucking big surface area of space with a lot of ocean that you could easily get lost in. I mean, it's not the size of fucking Burping Gary. Let's be honest.
How big's Burpengary? For reference.
Like probably, I don't know.
Not that big.
Not that big.
Not as big as-
not as big as the Bermuda Triangle.
Definitely
John.
not.
No,
Definitely
it's
not.
a suburb, not a fucking giant, massive ocean.
Yeah, we
But
should
it's
probably
like-
look that stuff up, and
Yeah.
we'll
What? How big Burpengary is, or the Bermuda Triangle?
probably both, because then we could say how many times
Can
Burpengary
Burpengary
will
fit
fit
in
in. Yeah. Yeah.
True.
Do you know that South Korea can fit into Queensland alone 32 times?
Holy shit!
Yeah.
And they have more people in our they have more people in their country than we do in ours, don't they?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
I learned that in the army. Cause
You had to do that project on it.
yeah,
eh?
yeah.
I remember you told me it was really fucking boring.
Well, we had to do something.
No, the story you told me was really fucking boring.
Fuck you. I worked really hard on that assignment. I figured out the comparison of how much one it was to get a Big Mac compared to Australian. Well, yeah, Australian.
Yeah, like I said, really fucking boring. But anyway, fuck, there we go again. Talking about like your project in South Korea when we're actually supposed to be talking about.
That
like,
I did in 2012. I was in the army in rehab troop.
When are we going to get to that point? Like that's what we're supposed to be talking about. Like,
Yeah.
Oh well, we're going okay for time.
We're going okay for time. Death sports, yeah. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure there'd be some backyard things where some underground stuff where it would be already happening. But the question is, when does it become like mainstream?
Yeah.
And a lot of them, a lot of the movies, and of course they're always movies that depict it. It's like, they're always in the future, but like what's going to happen to where it's like, nah, that's acceptable. All
right, so like we'll talk about the one that we were talking about off camera with Hunger Games.
Hunger Games,
because you read the books.
I read the books.
You're well across it, and I think a lot of people have seen the movies, and it's
Mhm.
like, so there was a revolution, and then they, so
Squashed
there was
that
a
and-
major event in
Mm,
Earth's history
mm,
where they were like, okay, now we need to oppress these fuckers
mm.
to ensure that they toe the line.
Yeah,
And
so
one of
they
the
have to
things
give
that
a
they do,
tribute
every
every
year.
year for the Hunger Games.
Yeah. Even though they live in fucking absolute poverty and everyone's hating life.
But it's the capital, Pan Am,
Mm.
that they're
How
bad.
do you get to live there?
You just get born there.
Well, you just get born there.
Yeah. So they've got people,
Lucky.
and like it's just purely luck. Like it's whoever's living there is living there, but that's just sort of
I
it.
suppose there's probably.
It's just like if you were, I was born in,
here.
you were
Yeah.
born in Queensland, I was born in South Australia. It's just like literally your parents were there, your parents did the thing, and then.
Yeah, but who got like okay? So after the uprising, who got to live
there was
in
already
the capital?
no one knew. There was already people in the capital. The capital existed. There was already the districts, and then the districts in the story. Then they were like, "Nah, stuff this. This is bullshit. The capital is they're taking all our stuff. They're not giving us nothing. So screw them." And they did an uprising. But then the capital was so strong that they beat them back down. And then they said, "All right, well you just really screwed the pooch on that one. Now you
Yeah.
got to give us one of your kids, male, female, each year, and we're going to make them fight to the death."
It's a very like sort of biblical story when you
Yes.
think about it. Like when they talk about like not that I'm religious at all. It's just that I've read things about
Mm,
the Abrahamic religions, and you talk about Babylon. That is what
Mm.
the capital is.
mm.
Complete like hedonism, like living in beyond your means and
Mm.
fucking,
Yeah, and
watching
so-
people fight to the death.
And so there's like a famous scene in the book and in the movie where Katniss goes and she goes because she volunteers and she's a tribute, and then they go to like a party, and then there's these people at the party, and they're like, "Oh, how can you eat so much?" She's like, "Oh yeah, you take this and you vomit up the food." And she's like, "Why would you do that?" It's like, "So you could eat more." And so they're like so
Yeah, gluttony.
gluttony,
Fucking
the 7 deadly sins.
Yeah.
And so they're so gluttonous that in the capital they can overeat and then vomit and then eat more, whilst in her district, District 12, they're starving.
Whereas Catnips has nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Peter Malark throws her a burnt loaf. Yeah. Again, another story. I'm
That's not a euphemism either.
They do get together. They have a kid in the end.
In the books?
Yeah, in the books.
And the movies. Yeah, they do, don't they?
They don't show it in the movies, but yeah.
Wasn't she into Liam Hemsworth or something?
Yeah, but then... but her and Peter get together.
Oh, all good on them.
Yeah.
Would you volunteer for your sister?
No.
Fuck.
Nah, not at all. Not a chance. Not a chance.
Man.
Not a
Harry,
chance.
you're on your fucking own. I'd be
What about Amy?
Nah, fuck him. Well, you got drawn out of a hat.
Sucked in.
Your name.
Sucked
not
in.
mine. Would you have done it for me? Harry, honestly, would you have fucking... because let's be honest, you would probably be better at it than me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd probably be better at it than Amy. Actually, Amy would be one of the people that figures out how to fucking shoot the arrow into the fucking dome and electrocute every other cunt.
Yeah, or haymaker sort of stuff and duck down sort of thing.
No, that's what I would have done. I would have fucking hid in the corner of the map like a coward until, I don't know, a fucking swarm of angry bees fucking gave me an anaphylactic fucking shock or something.
Yeah, that does happen.
Yeah, that's what would happen to me.
Like crackerjacks.
Is that what they call them?
Yeah. They're like a cross between a hornet and a... It's a thing.
A hornet and
they just make stuff up.
The guy off the front bar, what's his name? Mick Malloy. He was in Crackerjack. Just telling really shit Australian jokes at the same time fucking pumping you with poison.
That's terrible.
Just his little head.
That's terrible.
On a bee.
That's terrible.
Nah, he's all right. My dad loves Mick Malloy. I think he's a cunt. Because he barracks for Richmond.
That's obviously everyone's open to their opinion, even if it's a wrong one. Even if it's a wrong one.
Have you heard the thing about the inspired unemployed guys?
Yeah.
So they came up with better beer, and then there's a group of blokes in Melbourne, and it's like Eddie Maguire, Mick Malloy, and a few other people, and they own a beer company called Brick Lane or something like that, or something to do with something indie, but. They were trying to sue Better Beer because their can looked too similar. And the Better Beer guys, they got up in court. They got the win.
Good on ya.
So, good on them.
Maybe because it's Better Beer.
Oh! Hey! Can we get the celebrate good times? Come on.
Nah, it's probably copyright.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you got to be careful with copyright.
Can you just change the pace of it and the key?
Technically, you can.
Yep.
I don't know how to.
Can we get it sung in Russian?
I'm sure we could.
That would be good. Something like that.
Can you speak Russian?
Nah. It would be a language that I'd probably be interested in learning though.
I know Russian. Suka bla?
Yeah, but okay, what does that mean?
Fuck bitch.
How is that going to help you if you're dropped into Moscow?
Well, I can call people bitches.
The first time, you have the chance, okay, so hypothetical situation.
You know who would do death sports? Russians would do death sports.
Yeah, they would.
But yes, continue. I'm dropped in, yeah.
You're dropped into the middle of, so for whatever reason, and just go with me here, you're the only person that can stop the war in Ukraine. You're the only person that Vladimir Putin will listen to.
Wow.
And so that's all you know.
I'd take a fucking translator. I'd take my phone. I'd take my iPhone and I would use Google Translate.
No, you don't have it.
I'd connect to their Wi-Fi.
No, you don't.
I'd be like,
they don't have it.
They don't. I'd be like, what am I going into North
no,
Korea?
You said you've got one word. That's it. You know Russian.
Technically, I've got 2 words. Well, I know 3. Niet. Would you know what net is?
Yeah,
Niet?
no.
Well, that's why I tell him no. No, Vladimir.
I know a little bit from COD. Harry would walk around the house and he'd be like, "Unstuttgranada."
Is that grenade?
I think so. Stun grenade or something. Stun grenade. Maybe.
Stun grenade, yeah. So we're doing pretty well.
Yeah. So you're able to say, "Fuck, bitch, no."
Fuck, bitch, and no, because suka.
That's all.
Suka.
And that's all he's gonna need to hear to stop. Doing what he's doing.
Black belt in judo, so I can't even beat him in a fight.
Vlad Putin.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
wasn't he part of like the...
KGB.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he was
Viva las the questions!
I saw that. I did see that episode, and that is a very good episode of The Office.
German accent, though.
Yeah, that was it. And I like how then he tries to do it again, and he's just like, "Oh, hold on."
Yeah.
Jim's just like, "Hold on."
Can you come back later?
Very clever by Jim. Very clever by Jim.
Yeah.
It's
He
very
knows
funny.
that Dwight takes things too literally.
Yeah, very funny. Very funny. The Office.
Um,
The interesting in The Office. When are they going to turn The Office into a death sport? Because Michael would be killed immediately, and I would be very happy about that because Michael is an idiot.
you don't like him? You haven't gotten to... How far in are you, man?
Season 5.
John has only recently started watching...
I could never
with
get
with his
into The
wife Tegan.
Office.
He's only recently started watching The Office, and it's something that I used to watch when it was first coming out back in 2005.
Oh, all right. Cool story, bro. Cool
Yeah, well,
story.
you used to... You're always like, Seinfeld, you fucking...
Because that...
I know George Costanza.
Because Seinfeld is primo. Because it is
No,
top
it's-
tier. Yes, it is.
It's not.
All right. People...
It's not.
People...
Jerry, like... You know, whenever it starts off, the best thing about that is the music. It's like... And like Jerry Seinfeld, what's the deal with the remote controls? Right? Like, what is that?
Yeah,
that's not comedy.
No, that's comedy.
No, it isn't, John.
Yeah, yes, it is.
It isn't.
Yes, it is.
In what world, though?
You know, in what world? My world.
Yeah, well, your world's fucking stupid.
No, it's not, because we're going to have a death sport.
Yeah.
And if you don't
Jerry
like
Seinfeld versus Michael Scott, Michael wins every day of the week. Because you know why? Because he's got Dwight as his corner man and his cut man.
Yeah, I don't think because
Who's Jerry got?
Well,
George?
George, but that'd be no good.
Oh,
But he
Kramer?
might have Kramer.
Yeah,
And Kramer
Kramer. Yeah.
Kramer would probably do some pretty wild stuff.
Yeah, true.
He'd probably have like a shank or something.
Yeah, but you're not allowed to use it. Oh, it is death sport.
Yeah.
Uh,
Hey, you're not allowed to use that. That's illegal. We're fighting to the death. No shanks. No
Michael Scott wins every day. He's got too much like built up like, shame like after what he did to Scott's tots.
I haven't seen that episode.
Oh,
So no spoilers. No
gonna,
spoilers.
You're gonna hate it. Peach iced tea. You're gonna hate it.
It is a very funny show. You do have to. They made it a lot better after the first 2 seasons, because the first season was almost unbearable in my opinion.
But they made it very similar to how the English one was, so
Yes.
Ricky Gervais.
Yes. I actually like the English Office.
Yeah, I like it too. I think that it suits. There's a really interesting show that Brian Baumgartner does. He's Kevin, and he talks about the whole how it got like as a concept idea that they took from the English Office.
Mm-hmm.
They sold it bought it all the way back to America, and they're like, it's never going to work because British comedy's so different. They twisted it their own little way, and one of the most successful shows in TV history. Rightly so.
Right after Seinfeld.
No, it may be that way. I think.
Yeah, probably.
No,
definitely
in terms
is.
of statistics, not your
And
opinion, because your opinion's garbage truck. If that's what you think. If you think that Seinfeld is something that they put on if someone has had a fucking brain injury, like if someone has, that is what. Okay, so you're talking about death sports. Yeah, all right. So you're talking about death sports. All right. So fucking, what's a UFC fighter? Fucking George St. Pierre's just been fucking gutted.
GPS.
Yeah.
GSP.
GPS.
GSP. GSP. Sorry.
I know where everything is. He's just been gutted by fucking Hezbollah, because he's in it too.
Yeah.
All right. Hezbollah's won.
Yep.
George St. Pierre, they're like, all right, mate, we're just gonna wheel you off into this room to die.
You've definitely got brain damage.
And brain damage as well. It's like
You've been
what do you wanna
repeatedly
watch, man?
kicked in the head.
Yeah, something funny, and it's like, well, subjectively this is funny, but this is all we got. And then there's Jerry Seinfeld and the music, and he just starts giggling because it's like, bow, bow, bow,
And you
bow,
know what?
bow.
You know what? He does a happy man.
Yeah. Because he's simple at that point, John. There isn't oxygen going to his brain.
He does a very happy man.
You know where?
You talk about lines in the sand. Jerry Seinfeld, $100 million to do a 10th season, said no.
Wow. Why?
Why not 9 seasons ago? Why now?
Yeah. But that's crazy, because that's big money back in those days.
Because they finished it, and he said it was the perfect ending, which, in my opinion, the final episode was kind of crap. That's my opinion. A lot of people have different opinions. But that
Do you
last
mean
episode
the
beats
final episode,
all of.
No, it doesn't. The final episode from like the start of the inception of the show to the fucking end, because it's crap.
The funny thing is that
The only funny thing about that show is the soup Nazi thing. That's it.
Yeah, that's a good episode. That's
Yeah.
probably the most popular episode. But the funny thing is, right on that, if you're a big Seinfeld fan, which I am, and all of that, so they have a certain line that's actually like the opening line of the first episode in the end, and it's about a button, and that's how it ends.
What?
So in the first episode of Seinfeld,
Yep.
they're talking about how high his button is. And then in the last episode of the grand finale, they're in jail and they are talking about the button.
Okay, so Jerry's used the classic the comedic tool of a throwback. He's just gone all the way back.
Yeah.
And he's realised that's when I should have stopped the show.
In the first 10 minutes of the...
If we ever get
That's the
Jerry
pilot
Seinfeld
episode.
on, I will tell him that his show was the most garbage bullshit.
So we're going to be two comedians in his car and we're just going to roast him, you reckon?
I would go as far as to say that I would sabotage the vehicle.
And kill yourself
Yep.
because
Yep.
you have a terrible
Of
opinion?
shame.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Shame of being in the same car.
I'd
as that
sacrifice
man.
myself for Jerry Seinfeld because I feel like he's...
Oh, so he would be the tribute
Yeah.
in the Hunger Games that you would be like...
Yeah, absolutely. My sister, no,
Fucking
blood
hell, man.
relative, but Jerry Seinfeld,
What
And
makes
she-
you tick, hey?
and she would do the same because we grew up on Seinfeld. She'd say the same thing.
Is that all you had on the channels out there?
Well, we only had 3
In the
channels.
Clare Valley?
We,
That
had,
was it?
we had
What channel?
we
That was
had-
on Channel 10, wasn't
we had
it?
ABC, we had SBS, we had Channel 7, Channel 9, Channel 10.
Already that's more than 3 channels. You
It's
said 3.
It's 5. That's quick math for you. Well done. Yes. Off the top of my head, I thought 3 because I was really only thinking of the Channel 7, Channel 9, Channel 10.
Okay, fair enough.
But now there's like 100.
I don't think we're ever... Yeah, there is lots. Or out at Clare Valley.
Well, everywhere.
Or digital TV these days.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
They have digital TV.
Jimmy wouldn't know what to do with himself.
He doesn't.
Yeah.
And often he just gets so confused he falls asleep in front of the TV.
He'd be like a porn stars sort of guy.
Yeah.
Just watches those shows on 7, mate.
Yeah, but yells at it. You know, like he yells at TV a lot.
That much?
Yeah.
500 for that?
You know who he reminds me of? The dad off of The Castle. Tell him he's dreaming.
Yeah, yeah.
So it'd be
Daryl Kerrigan.
yeah, so they'd be like, oh, I'll give you $20. And he'd be like, oh, $20, $2. Especially with the pickers, you know, the pickers, the antique
Yep.
pickers. Yeah, he's always like, oh, whatever. And, you know,
What do you want with jousting sticks?
and you know
My
the funny thing?
dad was so proud of the fact that people would say he looked like... Is it Daryl Kerrigan?
Yeah, I know
I
who
think
you're
it's
talking
Daryl
about.
because he's got
Yeah.
Dale. No.
Yeah,
But the main guy.
yeah, and I would
Dad
agree. Yeah,
Dad-
Barry does look
Dad
like him.
looked yeah, and he... Especially when he was a bit younger.
You know which
probably
son
looks
you'd
like
be out of the ones in that?
the one that digs the hole.
No, you'd be the one in fucking jail for your shit opinions.
I forgot about the guy in jail. Doesn't he get out of jail in the
Yeah,
end?
right at the very end. Yeah,
Yeah.
right at the end, and then they get a fleet of van. Is it moving vans? They do they do car removal or something like.
Man, I need to rewatch that movie.
I haven't seen that in ages.
Australian classic. hey?
Yeah, that's good. But yeah, you'd go to jail for your shit opinions.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Well, at least I'm not digging a fucking hole like you.
Yeah, but
Dug another hole today.
is that what they say?
Yeah, he's like,
I haven't seen
Tell
it so
him what you
long.
did, and he's like, dug a hole because he's trying to build a patio. He's trying to build the thing out the front, and he dug a hole. But like, that's a supportive family environment. Like, if I had done that when I was a kid, mum and dad would have been like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Mm.
It's like, I asked you to fucking take the clothes off the line, not dig a fucking hole. It's
Yeah,
like, well, I'm trying to help the family in the best way I know how, and
but it may have been a really random hole to dig if you just dug a hole. He was digging a hole for a patio, so that's probably why your parents would be a bit annoyed. If that
yeah, but in my mind, I would have been like, now they know that I'm digging for a patio. You know,
That's
but
fair.
they probably wouldn't have seen it that way.
Yeah, they didn't put 2 and 2 together.
Mm.
Yeah, fair. Well,
But like, I just appreciate that in terms like, you know, he's so supportive of his wife. Like, you know, what do you call this style? You know, stuffing. I think it was. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, what's you've done with it that makes it. You know, like
yeah,
just,
everything,
you know,
everything he loves,
he's just
soul to the earth.
Yeah, you just love him.
Yeah.
You know? Do you think you'd be a different person if Daryl Kerrigan was your dad?
Probably. I think we all would be.
I think we all would be.
Yeah, I think we'd be very different people.
Fuck.
But yeah.
I need to find out the name of that guy and get it. He's actually in another movie that's really good called Last Cab to Darwin, I think it's called.
Okay.
Where he's like, basically, he's got a terminal illness and then euthanasia is allowed in Darwin, and he's like, fuck it, I'm going to...
And it's a death sport? And he just gets into a fight and just gets fucking destroyed. And he's like, this is a terrible way to go. To just bring it full circle back to the death sport. And he's just like got a terminal illness and he's at like end of stay, end of life, and he's just fucking struggling. And there's this young guy just fucking bobbing and weaving.
Should talk about a stepping stone fight.
Oh, he's just like, and then like right at the very end, Joe Rogan's like, how do you feel, man? He's like, man, I fucking killed that guy.
And then they just wheel him off to watch Seinfeld.
Oh, get out of it. Get out of it, you fucking dog.
Well, that's what they're doing.
Yeah, fucking
But
dog.
yeah, like we may as well answer the question of like, so I think what will happen is and I hope that I'm not around. I hope my children aren't around. I hope,
What about your grandchildren?
Maybe, I don't know.
Fuck them.
Yeah, it depends if I like them or not. But, I don't want to be around to see that side of things. Like, because imagine if, like, death sports are a thing that are acceptable, what the fuck else is happening?
Oh, yeah.
So something major has to happen to the collective consciousness of people where they go, fuck it, let's give it a go.
Yeah, 100% right there. There have to be some sort of...
we've been doing this, we may as well, let's step it up just for that little bit.
Yeah, like some sort of like massive event. And you're just like, well, we used to do the UFC and look where it got us. So let's just step it up a bit.
Like, because back in like ancient Rome or places like that, they didn't have the AFL, obviously. And I don't think they had football, like soccer, if you want to call it that, at that time either.
No. Do you reckon, a thought experiment, if they'd had AFL, maybe they'd still be going?
What? Maybe they'd still have the Colosseum?
No, like Rome, because Rome fell. But like, do you reckon...
I think Rome fell because... Here we go again, man.
Just a thought experiment. I reckon they'd still be going pretty well.
I think Rome fell because they got too greedy. They were like,
we're going to take over the AFL. Do you know so they started the Olympics. Oh, no, it was the Greeks. But so they started the Olympics. And do you know why they had to do it naked?
To make sure no one had any weapons.
It was to make sure that they were all male. Because only males were allowed to compete.
Fucking hell.
So they're like, no females, show us your bits.
And that's where we get cancelled. Because we've just mentioned that. Could you imagine back then? Fuck. Like the Greeks now would be like, what the fuck?
Well, I'm pretty sure everyone would be like, what the fuck from back then.
True. Yeah.
But yeah, definitely sidetracked off there. So we're thinking, that's fine. It happens.
We're going to get better. This is therapy for us anyway. At least I'm acknowledging the fact that, now I can't stop thinking about why Rome failed. Because they
got too greedy.
Too thin, man.
And they also got way too greedy.
Yeah, they did. They didn't have enough manpower, and it
was really corrupt. There was a massive oligarch. If you go right into it, yeah.
Yeah.
Friendly Geordie talks about it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should. I should actually listen to that.
Well, yeah. So yeah. You should. I'm just trying to think where he talks about it, but it's on his podcast with Neil and Jordan.
Cool.
But yeah. And he's a bit ADD as well, so he'll probably start talking about it, then just go completely off topic, kind of like us.
Yep, that's fair enough. Like, I have sympathy for people that do that, because people are going to have to, like, I'm going to be the downfall of your show.
I think we're both going to be our own downfalls of the show.
I think that you'd be better off without me, easily.
But I don't think it'd be as fun.
Thanks, man.
Even though you got a shit opinion. Fuck you and The Office.
Fuck you.
You Michael Scott loving motherfucker.
But yeah, okay, so Catechism, like a massive event that changes, like whether, there's a fucking military coup or some shit, and then they're like, let's find the strongest man, and this is how, and then only he gets to breed, know. And so it's like, if you want to breed, then you have to participate in death sports.
Yeah.
You know?
A lot of shows that
you have to win one death match
Yeah.
to be able to breed. And then, fuck, there'd be some psychopaths in the world. More so than what there is now.
Yeah. Yeah, probably. That'd be pretty wild to see.
That would be fucking... But that's literally survival of the fittest. It's like... And then the women as well. You want to breed. Win a death match.
So, on that, in a movie, again, where they talk about having kids, but you have to do stuff, is Starship Troopers.
Okay.
So, you remember they're like conjoined showers? Also, they don't have that in the military.
No, that doesn't happen.
Which is disappointing.
Probably for good reason.
Still disappointing. But I think it would help morale for the men.
Yeah, definitely not for the women.
No, absolutely not.
Some of the dumbest people I've ever met in my life have been in the army.
I'm sitting right here.
No, I'm not. Yeah.
Hi-oh!
But like dead set, like.
Oh, absolutely.
Like absolute meat, like fucking.
Oh
meat
yeah,
bags
they
that are
write
just
with
like-
crayons. Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, so in that they talk about like, oh, why did you join the army? And like someone says they want to run for parliament, and then someone says that they want to have a kid, and because
so if you want to have a child, you have to serve in the.
unless you can pay for it, and I think that's how they had it in the movie, and they didn't dive deep into it, but they had some sort of conscription, or like you had to serve, and then if you served, you were able to do certain things.
Mate, I would not be at all surprised in the next 40 or 50 years if something along those lines is, you know, they say all this shit about climate change and believe whatever the fuck you want about. Like, yeah, the Earth's heating up, but there are scientists out there at the moment that are saying that throughout the Earth's history, they can prove that when humans weren't even on the planet, that there was that much CO2 in the atmosphere that nothing could have been sustained. So who knows if it's just a fucking cycle that just keeps going round and round and
I
round.
think we're speeding it up though.
Yeah, probably.
Absolutely.
Probably, but that's... And, like, it's... Like, the average punters, like you and I, we're not operating fucking giant oil rigs and fucking all that sort of
Not yet.
shit. Not yet. I'm probably never going to do it. I don't know if it's in your fucking character arch as well, but who knows? But, like, the average punter...
Are we, like, we talk about sponsorship, big oil, are we pro or against? They throw some dollars down? I'm going to say...
Give me a week.
Yeah, okay.
Give me a week.
Okay.
I'll think about it.
I'm already a no, but that's all right that you're thinking about it, you piece of shit.
Unless it's the guy off The Simpsons that, you know, the...
Yeah.
The oil tycoon guy.
What about if Michael Scott Paper Company wants to sponsor
Yeah,
us?
because they're small business.
Yeah, small business.
They're the little guy.
Yeah.
Yes, I definitely would. I'd take
What about if it was done to Mifflin?
No.
No.
Knowing what I know from... Sidetracked again, John. Like, and now... Fucking hell. My fault. I went on with it. But no, I wouldn't... No, I wouldn't... Knowing what I know from Dunder Mifflin, I don't think that I would take... I can't believe I'm seriously answering that question. Oh, well.
What were we even talking about? I don't know.
Would we take sponsorship from Big Oil? But okay, so yeah, I think that there will be a thing. So it's like the one-child policy in China. You know, you can't have more than one child, or you know, you have to pay a certain amount of money to have children, or you have to do certain things in order to get to a, and that is a dystopian future where people don't actually have the autonomy over their lives to do the things that you could argue are our birthright. You know, that's what we're here to do.
Yeah.
You know, it's genetically programmed into all of us. You know, and we're being told, nah. You know,
or you can do it, but only if you do A, B, C.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild.
It is pretty wild.
And unfortunately, I feel like no matter what, it will get to that point.
Yeah, I think so.
I think. That's what I think. And it'll be outside of our control.
Like what? Okay. Say that happens. So here's your choice. You can either live in that dystopian future, or you can live in a world like The Last of Us.
I'd probably want to go The Last of Us, because then at least, you know...
It's a bit more of an adventure.
Yeah. I never played the game, but it looks fun.
The game is okay, but you're like sort of like railroaded into the decisions that you make.
Oh, okay.
but it's good.
So
It
either
doesn't really
so either
follow-
way, you're saying it sounds like both.
Yeah, true. You railroaded into.
Yeah.
Who knows? That could be life. If you look at it from a philosophical point of view, we could just be playing out a script,
Yeah.
like Westworld.
Yeah.
You know?
Would you go to Westworld?
Fuck, that's a moral. Like, okay, what kind of visitor to the park are you? Like, you know, are you there to?
It's like
have
you're
sex with robots.
Well, it's like you go there by yourself, or it's like a guys' weekend. Me and you go.
yeah, but
and
it's
it's
like
just like-
$70 a ticket. So,
Is it $70? Fuck, I'll go.
$70.
I'll go. I'd go every weekend.
70 grand.
It seems like amazing. I'd go every weekend.
Sorry, it's like 70 grand.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it's like
so that's
only
what I
for
mean.
certain people.
So that's what I mean. Like, we get to go there. We win a trip. They sponsor the show.
Westworld.
Westworld sponsors the show. And they're like, you two get to go. And it's like everything paid for.
I'm a massive fan of Western movies, and I have been since I was a kid. And I just like Red Dead Redemption 2. My brother and I like smashed that game fucking relentlessly. Like,
Just like you'd smash those robots.
no, the things that I would do
to those robots.
Well, I don't know. Like, I don't think, like, if something is super, like, the basic concept of it is like you could be a robot, and I'm like,
good.
I don't want to stab you in the neck.
Sometimes I feel like you do.
But
About
like
my-
that,
about
that's
my-
the thing.
yeah,
Is
yeah.
like, you know, detaching yourself from your humanity to do things that, like. But the thing is, you know that they're robots, and there isn't a risk because they can't do it back, and that's the whole thing of the show. Is like,
Well, then
have
they
you ever
start.
seen the whole show?
Yeah.
You've
so-
seen it all?
Yeah, I watched it
Uh,
when we went to
spoiler alert.
Nepal.
Did you? You watched it when we were in Nepal.
No, when we were going to Nepal.
The whole way across.
Yeah.
Fuck, that's
I
good
was
effort.
kind of going to sleep halfway through, and it got super confusing because you know that.
kept waking up. Like,
Well, I kept going in and out, and because you
Yeah.
know there's multiple timelines.
yeah, exactly.
That confused the shit
But
out of
the
me.
Man in Black turns out like when he first went to
Yeah.
the park, he had good intentions, and then he was like, it corrupted him, made him evil. But then he's like, I need to feel the full experience because, you know, and there's a whole philosophical thing about like the maze, so that's imprinted on like a lot of their skulls and stuff, and it's like
that I never got.
I can't explain it properly, but it's like finding what you're truly about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? By doing everything possible and seeing what I don't know. That's what it meant to me. It's like you know, finding your way to the center of the maze where you truly are. And he goes, you can't do that at Westworld unless you feel the fear of repercussion. So he's trying to get it so that the AI are then able
Alive.
to do things. And it's a fucking epic show. It made me seriously contemplate life for a good month after I finished the first season.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But yeah, to answer your question
About
about
slamming robots.
no, not
'Cause you
not
can-
one robot.
Because you can just nut in them and it doesn't matter. They're not going to get pregnant. No repercussions. You
I'm
don't
going
get an
with
STD.
Handmaid, and
you
I've
can't
got
get
my
it-
wife, so
But you can't
no.
get an STD.
Yeah. Well, what if they don't clean the robot?
Oh, that's an interesting.
That's fucking gross.
Oh, that would be really nasty.
Yeah.
'Cause you'd be
Disgruntled employee that like gets
Yep.
to see all these people
Yep.
have sex with robots, and he's like, "Fuck it, I'm just gonna not clean."
Man, you'd be
I'm
stirring pudding
not,
there.
yeah, I'm not cleaning maple this week.
Oh. That is an interesting concept. I never thought about that.
Yeah, but
That would
I
be really
think-
dirty.
yeah, the Last of Us and the dystopian future question is an interesting one, like for me as well, because at the point it's like, I don't know, man.
Well, the interesting thing is, in all of those shows, they're all set in America, and America has access to a lot of things that we don't,
Like, oh yeah,
i.e., guns. That's basically the thing of it. So, I feel like in Australia, it would be very different.
yeah, we're severely hamstrung
Yeah,
in terms of like how you fight back
yeah.
if you are
And it would be very,
attacked by something that
it'd be
is-
very analog. It'd be like numchucks.
yeah,
And numchucks are illegal in
wooden
Australia.
spoons.
Yeah, you can't
The
have
things that
nunchucks in
Mum
Australia.
could do with a wooden spoon, man.
Yeah,
Fuck.
true. Yep,
know,
I know that pain.
Cooking and combat.
Yep.
You know.
So in that sense, if you've got a wooden spoon in the Last of Us scenario, you're probably safe.
You reckon?
I think
I
so.
don't know.
Hey, that's it.
Full time.
Full time. All right. I reckon what we do is we save this subject and we just sort of bloody turn that bloody off, you dickhead. I reckon we circle back to this next time. The Last of Us.
All right. Okay. Sounds good.
Because we can.
Do you think that we comprehensively answered the question about when we go into?
Absolutely not.
Yeah. Cool.
But that's us.
All right. Sign off, big boy.
We leave questions unanswered. That's us.
Why don't you tell us?
Yeah, that's a good point.
When do we get to
death sports.
Enjoying death sports with the family on a Saturday night?
Because we really want to know.
Mm.
All right. Until next time.